it's amazing what I've learned is that it's amazing what I can do. I'm not going to speak for you out there, but what I can do when I step in front of someone's face and I look them in the eye and I say, "What's your problem with me? What's your problem? Do you have a problem with me? Tell me what your problem is. Let's figure it out." When people recognize how serious I can be and how I will look into your soul, they soften. Because I'm not here to harm you, but I'm also not here to be harmed. Welcome to the Weekly Transit, your guide to understanding the current planetary and astral alignments. Together, we'll explore how to harness these cosmic frequencies, empowering you to reach your highest potential as you navigate the days ahead. I'm your host, Scott Tajarian. Welcome to the Weekly Transit. This is the week of November 25th to December 1st. I'm your host, Scott Tajarian. This week, the theme is freedom of intentions, as we highlight Mercury Retrograde and the new moon in Sagittarius. What do you intend to do with your freedom? With the freedom that you have in your life, however little amount of freedom you may have, what do you intend to do with that freedom? Before we get into the depths of these transits and I begin the channel, I want to address a question that I received on Spotify. Of course, I really encourage these questions because they help facilitate the conversation that we're sharing here. Of course, if you are enjoying the content that we're sharing on the Weekly Transit, please like and subscribe to our channel on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you're listening. Give us a positive review on Apple or Spotify if you're there, or write a positive review on Apple. All of it is very supportive to us. We really appreciate your support, your encouragement, everything that you are bringing to the podcast to help contribute to the conversation. So this question that I want to address is a very difficult question. This is why I'm addressing it, because it has been weighing heavy on me since I received it a few days ago. This is from Jen's Tough 97. And the question is, when hate crimes are rising. Now, I should preface this with, this is in reference to what we were sharing last week with regards to Pluto's transit through Aquarius. And we were saying that Pluto transiting into Aquarius, there's the high frequency and the low frequency of every sign, every planet, and it's how you are engaging with these frequencies. Are you engaging with the higher frequency of the energy or the lower frequency of the energy? And with Pluto transiting into Aquarius, the higher frequency is to have respect for your fellow man. Your fellow woman, mankind, humanity, however you want to refer to people on earth. It's about respect for one another. Now, I wanted to address this question because this isn't the first time that I've received this comment or question. We received another one recently in regards to the collaboration that we did with Delisa Hawking in the debrief of the U.S. presidential election, where somebody commented about spiritual bypassing. Now, there's nothing that really gets under my skin more. There are other things that get under my skin as much as, but nothing more than being associated with this term spiritual bypassing. So this question is from Jen's Tough 97. I hope you're listening, Jen's Tough 97, because this is for you and anyone else out there that may be feeling like you. And when I received this question, I got angry. And when I get angry, I have to look at fear, because fear is at the root of anger. And the fear is that what we're sharing here, the intention of what we're sharing is not being received in the way that we intend for it to receive. It means that we're missing the mark. And I don't want to miss the mark. I want to hit the mark. And the mark is to empower you, to encourage you, to support and energize you as you navigate through the week. And if we're missing that mark, I'm upset. I'm afraid. I'm like, oh, what are we saying? This is not our intention. So I was angry, then sad, confused, and it all reverted back to fear. Fear of communication not coming through. So the question from Jen's Tough 97, when hate crimes are rising, how is it of higher expression to bypass that and not critically call that into question? To not hold those that hate others, discriminate and fear them based on their skin color, gender, sexual orientation, and race. How is tolerating that dangerous fear-based mentality being of high expression / Aquarius qualities? If someone comes up to me and says, your body, my choice, and puts my physical safety at risk, how do I go higher from that? Well, before I answer this question, I want to be clear about who's answering this question and where this individual comes from. Of course, it's me, Scott Tajarian. Who am I? The reason why I bring this up is because I've often been so confused in my life. People look at me and they see, I feel judgment. I know it sounds silly to say, but I'm not going to discount it because it's how I've felt. And I'm not going to discount my feelings over the years. It stems from going to a school where I was in the minority by a large amount, not even close. And so there's that. But when you talk about hate crimes, I am a descendant of one of the worst hate crimes in the history of humanity. 4 of my 8 great-grandparents had to flee their country for fear of their safety. 2 of my 8 great-grandparents didn't flee their country. They were taken from their home and murdered because of who they were or what they were, their race. I'm the descendant of a genocide survivor. Now, the other 2 grandparents are white. They stem from that lineage that's within me, arrived to North America in 1630. So I have ancestors that have been here since 1630, and I have an ancestor, my grandfather, who arrived here in 1928. No, 1923. And it was just 100 years ago last year. the people that most of my race is rooted in, Armenia, are still being persecuted to this day. And most of the world doesn't care. People like my grandparents being uprooted and ejected from their homes, many killed because they're on land that other people say that belongs to them. So they pay for it with their property and their lives. So I don't think for a minute that love and light, love and light, love and light is the answer to all circumstances. I think it's more complex than that. I was talking with one of my little cousins who's a quarter Armenian, a quarter white, and half Japanese American. And she was telling me how her cousin, who is full-blooded Japanese American, quote, hates white people, but doesn't consider my cousin to be white, considers her to be Japanese, as if that's to make it okay. Of course, there's been conversations about this in their family, and apparently there is a change of thought and perspective from this cousin of my cousin. So, I am not immune to the hate, the race, and everything that goes on in the world. I'm a human being. I'm a man. And I have spent, as I said, 13 years in therapy, over 600 hours in therapy. If I said that before, or maybe I'm saying it for the first time, I don't even know. But I've been working on myself for years. I'm very familiar with my demons. The ugly and bad parts of myself, I'm very familiar with them. I don't hide from them. I don't pretend like they're not there. I know they're there. I pay attention to them every single day. Now there's a story that I want to share that occurred the year of my awakening. Many of you have heard me talk about my awakening. Maybe you haven't. I don't know. But it's something I'm going to be talking about more and more. I'm going to be redoing my website. My bio is going to be up there. My whole story is going to be up there. So hopefully that will be inspiring to you once it's available for your consumption, if you decide to consume it. But it was 2016, August, that astrology, this language, came to me in a way that it hadn't before, and I just knew this is what I was here to do. To not just learn this ancient language, but to use this ancient language to help empower those the way that the ancient language has empowered me. 6 months before that awakening, I was given another wake-up call. This was in the physical sense. It was February 2016. I lived in West Hollywood. I'd been there for 12 years. No, 2016. I'd been there for I'd been there 6 years at that point. And 6 or 7, 8 years. I don't even remember now. It's all blur. But yeah, it was actually 7 years. And one of the things that I loved about where I lived was the walkability. I mean, when you live in West Hollywood, it's just such a vibrant place. You know, I used to work waiting tables, and I was off Friday to Sunday. Those were my off days. I really had I had the schedule, you know? And everyone was always like, why do you don't want to work on Friday and Saturday? Isn't that when everyone makes the most money? I'm like, yeah, they do, but it's hard work. It's thankless work on Friday and Saturday night, because on Friday and Saturday night, you get all the couples coming out with their Master and Visa cards, and they're super high maintenance. You know, Monday through Thursday, you get the business people. It's not couples. It's a business table full of 4, 5, 6. Maybe it's 2, but usually it's a bigger party. They're paying with the company card, the Amex. And nobody's being high maintenance there. Rarely. I do have some stories. Maybe I'll share them with you sometime. But they want to keep it in check. So typically, Monday through Thursday, you're not going to work as hard, but you're going to make almost, if not more money than you would on the weekends. Weekends, you're going to work 2 to 4 times as hard, and maybe you make a little more money than you do on Monday through Thursday. But I digress. It was a Friday night, and I'm like, what am I doing? Nothing. Okay, I live walking distance from the legendary Grauman's Chinese Theater in Hollywood. What's playing there? Oh, Deadpool, a fun superhero movie played by a fellow Scorpio, Ryan Reynolds. I'll go see that, even though I wasn't in my astrology obsession there, so I really had no idea that Ryan Reynolds was a Scorpio at that point. But I was like, okay, I could check out for a little bit. I'm going to go see this movie. I'm going to walk up there. It's about a 20-minute walk from where I used to live, so it's not like around the corner. It's a little bit of a hike, but there's nothing that I really love more about living in West Hollywood than the walkability. You could just walk everywhere. I would park my car on Thursday night and hopefully not get into it again until Monday, because I was just walking everywhere from Friday to Monday. And so as I walked up to Grauman's Chinese Theater, it was at dusk, the sun was setting, and I was on Sunset Boulevard, walking on the sidewalk, minding my own business, when a man who was not of my race or color was approaching me. I didn't think anything of it because it didn't feel like anything. He had his earbuds in. He was talking on his earpiece, it was like, I'll show you right now. He was like, had the earbuds in, and he was just like talking like this, pretending like he's talking on the phone. Or I didn't know that he was pretending, but he was just like doing this. It looked like he was talking on his phone. And as he got closer to me, he got really close to me, and he attacked me. He put his hands on me. I was shocked. He is bigger than me, probably about 2-3 inches taller than me, younger, wiry, strong, but something just happened within me. I reacted, and I put my elbow in the sternum of his chest, and I knocked him on his ass. This was right in front of a coffee shop, by the way, and a woman comes running out of the coffee shop. I was like, oh my God, what is going on? I knocked him so hard, he into a table, chairs, they all fell. He was on his ass. She came screaming out like, what are you doing? What's going on here? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I just ran. I ran away. I was scared. I was terrified. So I ran. He got up and he chased after me. And we met in the middle of the street at the end of the block. He ran past me and blocked my path. Now, I had a choice here. High load, low load. Which way do I want to go here? I have a friend who is into Taekwondo. And I think he's gotten his black belt. If not, he's a brown belt. But one thing he told me about his sensei or teacher was that he's like, the best way to defend yourself is to show your attacker the bottom of your shoes as you're running away from them. I had pepper spray in my pocket, and you live in Hollywood, it's a sketchy place. You got to be aware. And so at the time, not realizing that or thinking about it at the time, but I'm a paranoid Scorpio, like someone after me. And he stopped my path in the middle of the street. And he's like, "What the fuck, man? What the fuck?" And I like, what? He's cursing at me. And I'm like, I don't have a problem with you. Like, I don't know what your problem is with me, but get away from me. And he just kept verbally attacking me and coming towards me again. And so I turned and ran away. Now, part of me wanted to spray him with the pepper spray, get him on the ground, and then stomp his head into the sidewalk. I was feeling that red rage within me. But a calmer, higher, coherent power came over me and said, no, unless he puts his hands on you again and you feel like you cannot control the situation as you did before, then you can use the pepper spray. But I'm not going to do this now. And then the police are going to be here and there's going to be a whole thing. No. So I ran away from him and he didn't follow. And the people in the coffee shop came out and were like, "Oh my God, are you okay? Are you okay?" And I'm like, I think so. They're like, "We thought that was a friend of yours. We didn't know what was going on." Like, a friend? Like, I mean, I don't know how friends say hello, but like, that's not how we do it where I come from, or I don't think anyway. So I was shook. I was so shook that I went the other way. I crossed the street and I continued my journey to Grauman's. And every time I saw a person of that color walking towards me, I got a little nervous because I wasn't sure if it was him, because I couldn't see. I didn't have my glasses on, I don't think. So I'm saying this all to say that we are not immune to the attacks that other people place upon us. I'm not naive to that. But that doesn't mean that we need to stoop to their level. What was encouraging to me was I felt safe by the group that had gathered outside the coffee shop and had seen what had happened. And that felt, even though I wasn't aware of the signs and what they all meant at that time, but that felt very Aquarius to me looking back. That like the community had rallied around me. They're like, "We're not going to let him harm you." If somebody is disrespecting your color, if somebody is disrespecting your gender, if somebody is disrespecting your sexual orientation or your race or your body autonomy, then they are not respecting you. Then they're in the low frequency of Aquarius. Does that mean that you should go into that same frequency? Well, if you're going to disrespect me, then I'm going to disrespect you? Is that the answer? Is that your answer? Because if that's your answer, then you're setting yourself up for more pain. Now, that's not to say that you won't receive pain for trying to take the higher road. My grandparents that stayed in Armenia were murdered. My great-grandparents. What did they do? Nothing. This country, Turkey, still denies that anything ever occurred that was associated with a genocide. How do I reconcile that? By waging war against Turkey? Maybe if I had the means, I would. I don't know. But I don't want to think that that is what I would do. I was cornered in a bar one time by a Turkish man. He's like, "You're Armenian? I'm Turkish." And then he laughed in my face. I was so shocked and confused that I didn't know what to do. I felt like he was taunting me for being Armenian. But I just walked away. I'm grateful that my grandfather was able to escape that place. I'm grateful that my 4 great-grandparents that left before the genocide, because that's why I'm here. I guess my point here is that I don't know the answers. I don't have the answers for you, Jen's Tough 97, or anyone else out there that thinks I'm spiritually bypassing these serious issues. You do what feels right to you, and I'll do what feels right for me. And that's it. That's what Aquarius is. You do you, and I'll do me. And if you doing you is disrespecting me in some way, then I'll do me in the way that deals with that disrespect. I have been bullied in my life, and in those times where I was bullied, I stood up to the bully. But I did it peacefully. It's amazing what I've learned is that it's amazing what I can do. I'm not going to speak for you out there, but what I can do when I step in front of someone's face and I look them in the eye and I say, "What's your problem with me? What's your problem? Do you have a problem with me? Tell me what your problem is. Let's figure it out." When people recognize how serious I can be and how I will look into your soul, they soften. Because I'm not here to harm you, but I'm also not here to be harmed. And I hope this elevates you if you're listening. Now let's get into the week, shall we? Yes! Whew! Okay, let's get into the week. The first transit of the week is Mercury, the messenger of the gods, guide of souls to the underworld, the planet of consciousness, communication, and coordination, begins its retrograde transit through the mutable fire sign symbolized by the archer, Sagittarius. Mercury retrograde occurs from November 25th, Monday, until January 2nd. No, December 15th. The shadow period is November 7th to January 2nd. The retrograde is November 25th to December 15th. Mercury is going to be retrograding back from 22 degrees to 6 degrees. If you're curious to learn how this retrograde is affecting you, and you want the honest truth, contact me for a reading at theweeklytransit.com. This is about being honest with others, honest with ourselves. This is about pulling back on that bow and letting the arrow fly to hit the bullseye, the truth. I love this question, Jen's Tough 97. It cuts to the truth. It cuts to the truth of what are we doing here? There are some serious issues going on this planet. Newsflash, that's life on Earth. This is nothing new. It's a new experience for us maybe, or for the Earth in the incarnation of what it is right now, but it's the same story. Death, murder, pain, suffering, rape. These are not new experiences that people are having on planet Earth. This is how it's been. This is what happens on Earth. This is a brutal place. It's also a beautiful, amazing place. This is what I love about the language of astrology, is when you look at these symbols, the 3 root symbols, the circle of spirit representing your eternal soul, no beginning, no end. The cross of matter representing the 4 elements of matter, fire, earth, air, water. The crescent of receptivity representing giving, receiving, teaching, learning. This simply tells you who you are, where you are, and what you're here to do. Who you are, what you are is an eternal soul with no beginning, no end. Where you are is in the material world, and what you're here to do is to teach and to learn. That person that attacked me taught me something about myself, and it woke me up. You think I could go and sit in Grauman's Chinese Theater and watch Ryan Reynolds in a costume fighting bad guys on this giant screen in this historic place and just relax with my bucket of popcorn? I tried, but no. I was like, is that guy coming in the theater? Where is he? How am I going to walk back home? What's going on in my life? How am I even in this position in my life where something like this is happening to me? He woke me up. And I'm grateful for him. I love him. I send him love wherever he is on this earth right now. If he's still here, he seemed deeply troubled. I don't know. But that was the crack in the egg that helped me get to this point where I had to start looking at my life differently, which led me to the astrology, which led me to here. When you look at the earth symbol, it's a cross of matter inside a circle of spirit representing the place where the eternal soul materializes into a physical body. That is what earth is. It's the place where the eternal soul materializes into a physical body. Why are we here? Because we can't learn through spiritual bypassing. We can only learn through experience. We can't just be floating around out there in the ether to know what it's like to lose somebody in a tragic death, or unexpectedly, or to have our hearts broken. We don't learn that in the ether. We learn that in the material realm. That is why we are here. We are here to experience the suffering as well as the joy, because that is how our souls are molded. It's how we grow. It's how we evolve. You do 600 plus hours of therapy, you talk about a lot of stuff. And sometimes you hate your therapist. I have hated my therapist over the years. And so glad I stuck with her. Because she taught me so much. She helped me experience the pain, the suffering, the anger that I was hiding from. I feel like when that guy attacked me, in a sense I was being tested, my anger, my rage. Because maybe if I was younger, I would have reacted differently. But I'm like, what is this going to do? What do I have to prove? Nothing. This guy's not well, and he's trying to hurt me. Huh? No, I'm running away. And if he catches me, or comes after me and catches me and tries to attack me, then I will defend myself. So Mercury transiting retrograde through Sagittarius is going to rip off whatever you're hiding from. It's going to expose the truth of who you are and how you see the world. I think it's happening to me right now on this podcast. The fact that I'm being so open and sharing something that is so personal to me. And then to receive the judgment of what it means to expose myself in this way. You think about Sagittarius, Jupiter is the judge. So as we share our truth, our philosophical view, prepared to be judged. Because others are going to share their truth with you. But we got to get the truth out. I wish I could have a conversation with this guy and say, why did you attack me? What made you attack me? What did I do to you? I'm just walking down the street. So share your ideas. Speak your truth. Be open in expressing how you see the world. We need to get our thoughts out there into the open because we can't move forward. We can't expand unless we're sharing. Sagittarius is about faith. Mercury's retrograde transit through Sagittarius may be a review of our faith. Needing to reconcile our faith or our lack thereof faith. I love what Ricky King says about retrograde. It's a upgrade. So in thinking about it from those terms, it's upgrading our faith. We're upgrading our faith. We're your fears, your doubts, your insecurities regarding faith may arise during this retrograde transit. And of course, Mercury retrograde is happening right during the Thanksgiving holiday in Sagittarius, right after the election. So people are going to be talking. Things are going to be said. Words are going to be shared that might hurt family members, friends. You got to be open to hearing it. And if somebody at the table says something that's offensive to you, then you have the right to call them out and say, that's offensive. So let's load up our quills and our bow and arrows and let the truth fly. The next transit, the sun, the giver of light, life, and vitality, in Sagittarius, forming a trine, a positive aspect to the North Node, retrograde in Aries. The North Node is the soul's purpose, the karmic pathway of the soul. Aries is the cardinal fire sign, symbolized by the ram. This is from November 24th, Sunday, to Wednesday the 27th, with the exact trine occurring on Tuesday, November 26th. On top of this, concurrently, a little bit after, but really kind of right in the same time frame, is the sun in Sagittarius forming a trine with Mars, the god of war, the planet of action, aggression, conflict, confidence, courage, authenticity, and the planetary ruler of Aries transiting through the fixed fire sign symbolized by the lion Leo. This is from Sunday to Thursday, November 24th to the 28th, with the exact trine occurring on Wednesday, November 27th. If you remember last week's episode, we were talking about Mars forming a trine with the North Node, and now the sun links up to form this grand fire trine, this grand fire trine that's really going to light the world on fire, right? It's going to energize you and what you're sharing. It's about opening your heart. I hope that nothing that I'm saying is offending somebody, but I am speaking from my heart. I'm speaking from a place of love, not hate. So where is the love in your heart? Is your heart filled with love or fear? And if it's fear, that's okay. It's something to work through. Love and fear just don't go on and off like a light switch. In order to not be afraid of something, you have to work through the fears. That is what Earth is. I had to regain my self-confidence after this experience that I had. Through therapy, friends, family. Luckily, I wasn't hurt. I wasn't harmed. It was just a scary experience. But where do these fears come from? For me, I have to revert it back to my roots, my ancestry, my childhood. If you feel fear in your heart, what is at the root of that fear? Where does it stem from? What experiences in your childhood planted those seeds of fear? What experiences through your ancestry planted those seeds of fear? And if you really want to step into the woo, where did those experiences occur in your past lives that you brought into this life? If you believe in that. It's about having the courage to investigate the roots of those fears. And this grand fire trine is helping to facilitate just that. Honest mind, courageous heart, and bold action? What are the actions that you're taking in your life that you can be proud of? I did this today and I'm proud of what I did. This is the work. I'm just here as a guide to help you navigate your way through life using the language of astrology. But I'm not living your life. I'm not doing the work that you need to do. So I can tell you to love yourself, to open your heart. But that's not easy necessarily. It takes work. I think this week, with all the gathering of friends and family, Friendsgiving, Thanksgiving, even the word Thanksgiving and how it brings up the horrors of this country and the genocide that occurred here. How it's painful for the people, the native people of this country, to hear people celebrating on this day. A day that to them represents bloodshed, the loss of life, family, property, and their way of life exterminated by the settlers that came here from other places. My ancestry. See, that's the complexity. I don't know if anyone in my ancestry was a part of the genocide of Native Americans. Maybe they were. I don't know. But that's the complexity. To come from people that have been persecuted and to maybe have come from people who were persecutors. I'm here to see the balance between the two. I'm here to see both sides of the equation. So I can empathize with Native people of North America and their disdain for the Thanksgiving holiday, because from my perspective, that would be like if people were celebrating in Turkey, the country of Turkey, in a way that is offensive to the genocide of the Armenians. I mean, the fact that they don't even admit that they did it is offensive in and of itself. So this week is a week to really open our hearts and to be willing to hear what other people have to say, but also to have the courage to share what we have to say. What do I have to say? But what do you have to say? This is how we broaden our perspective. This is how we open our hearts. In order to open our hearts, we have to have some difficult conversations. Some conversations where words may be shared that might offend those that are receiving those words, even if it's not our intention to offend. We might still have to receive those words and say, I don't care that you didn't mean to offend, you offended. So yes, your intent wasn't malicious, but I'm still offended by what you said. We've got to open ourselves up to that. We can't hide from it. And that leads us to the new moon in Sagittarius, which occurs on Saturday, November 30th at 10:22 p.m. This new moon is aligning with two fixed stars. Two fixed stars that are two of the four royal stars of Persia: Aldebaran and Antares. Both of these stars have been observed since antiquity, since the ancient Babylonians, the ancient Greeks. Aldebaran is one of the brightest stars in the sky, and it's a part of the Taurus constellation, but it is at 9 degrees in Gemini when you're calculating it from the tropical Placidus house system calculation, the tropical calculations. 9 degrees, that's where the new moon is, at 9 degrees in Sagittarius. Aldebaran is 9 degrees Gemini. So it's directly opposite where the new moon will be. Aldebaran comes from the Arabic word al-Dabaran, meaning the follower, because it follows the Pleiades cluster across the sky. It was the ancient Sumerians, Babylonians, and later Arabs that identified and named it, but its significance dates back thousands of years. What it represents is honor, success, integrity. These are all themes of Sagittarius. But it warns against ethical lapses, as dishonesty can lead to downfall. This is the lower frequency of Sagittarius. So it's interesting that Aldebaran in Gemini is reflecting that Sagittarius frequency, where in the high frequency, it's honor, success, integrity. The low frequency, it's ethical lapses through dishonesty. In mythology, Aldebaran is linked to Archangel Michael, the Archangel Michael, the warrior, the protector, symbolizing courage and righteousness. Aldebaran embodies the energy of steadfast determination and the ability to manifest intentions when aligned with ethical principles. Its light is said to illuminate the path of truth. This is such huge support during this new moon, because the new moon is about manifestations, and Sagittarius is about truth, honesty, ethics, exploration, adventure, freedom. So when we think of the theme of the week, the intention of your freedoms, or freedom of intentions, intend to be honest, intend to be truthful, intend to be forthright. If you're afraid, be honest. I'm afraid. Why am I afraid? Well, I'm afraid because fill in the blank. Focus and deal with that fear. Antares, also observed since antiquities, is a part of the Scorpius constellation, but with the tropical calculations is at 9 degrees in Sagittarius, conjunct with this new moon. It comes from the Greek antes Aries, which means rival of Mars. Due to its reddish appearance, it looks similar to the planet Mars. Antares is associated with power, ambition, and transformation, and is often tied to death and rebirth cycles, hence its placement in the Scorpius constellation. Mythologically, it connects to Archangel Uriel, representing wisdom and enlightenment. Wisdom and enlightenment is the Sagittarius frequency, which comes through the transformation of Scorpio. When you have these intense bonds or shifts in energy because you've been intimate with others, it creates wisdom and enlightenment. Antares represents the intensity of transformation and the power to confront deep truths, encouraging personal and collective evolution. It warns of destructive tendencies if power is misused. So again, it's about ethics. It's about what's doing right. It's about the truth. So when the new moon in Sagittarius aligns with Aldebaran and Antares, it activates a potent polarity of light and shadow, ethics and ambition, honor and transformation. Set your intentions to seek the truth. Set your intentions to be honest in your self-expression, in your emotional nature. Set your intentions to open your mind, to see things from a broader perspective, from that bigger picture. In recognizing the greater plan that may be difficult to see in the present moment. Think of your future and what you would like to manifest. Set your intentions to manifest a future of success through honesty, truth, and higher ethics. Now, if you're curious to know how this new moon is affecting you directly, or where this awakening of truth and honesty is occurring within your life, within your astrological code, I encourage you to enroll in my moon cycle classes at theweeklytransit.com. In the class, they are small. They're usually less than 8 people or less. And you'll get individual attention with me. We will look at the house of where this new moon is occurring and the planets within your astrological code that are aligning with the new moon and what that means for you. Where you need to focus your attention or set your intentions for greater honesty, openness, adventure, exploration, faith. These are all themes of Sagittarius. And this is what we intend moving forward during this new moon. The final transit of the week involves a transit that we talked about last week. It's happening again. Why? Well, because Mercury is retrograde. And Mercury is going to be hitting a lot of planets that it was hitting over the past few weeks. Again, in the next few weeks and beyond, once it goes direct again. This transit is with Chiron, the wound, the ancient wisdom, which is unlocked through healing that wound, transiting retrograde through Aries. This transit just occurred on November 19th, but it's occurring again on Sunday, December 1st. So it happened last Tuesday and it's happening again exact this Sunday. So really, it's been within 3 degrees of Chiron for 2 weeks now. But we're most strongly feeling this from Saturday to we've been feeling this from like last Saturday, November 16th, all the way into next week. So it's forming this exact trine 3 times. So as I said, last Tuesday, this Sunday, December 1st, and then Monday, December 30th, it will happen a 3rd time. The first time, Mercury was direct, Chiron was retrograde. This time, Mercury and Chiron are both retrograde. The next time, December 30th, Mercury and Chiron will both be direct. So I really like these transits when we get to experience him 3 times in a row or in close contact to each other. Just, this is 3 times in a month and a half. It's really helping us work with this energy. Keyword work, no spiritual bypassing, doing the work. And the work is to face your fears and insecurities, to be honest with yourself about what you're afraid of. What are you insecure about? For me, my insecurity is being misunderstood. Because I put so much effort into what we're doing here. And my intention is to elevate the people that are listening. And when I'm misunderstood, it freaks me out. And maybe I'm being misunderstood because it's my fault. Because I wasn't clear enough. Because maybe something I did say sounded like spiritual bypassing. Those are my fears. That's what I'm dealing with. What are you dealing with? What are your fears? What are your insecurities? In what ways have you been lying to yourself? What have you been hiding from? Are you lying about your fears? So often people are like, I don't fear anything. I fear God. Okay, sure. We all have fears. We all have insecurities. And they're coming to the surface right now. They're coming to the surface right now. So call them in. Show me my fears. Show me my insecurities. I want to face them head on right now because I want to elevate to that next level. I want to graduate. I want my soul to evolve, and my soul can't evolve if I continue to hide from my fears and insecurities. Even being here right now, like I've talked about on the podcast, just showing my face, putting myself out there to complete strangers that are going to judge me for what I'm saying. That's a fear. But I want to help people. So I need to face my fears. I want to be successful as an astrologer. So I need to face my fears, my insecurities. What are you afraid of? What are your insecurities? What is blocking you from evolving, from growing, from getting to that next level, that next phase of your life that's going to elevate you, that's going to make you feel like you're flying? Instead of, oh, the world has screwed me over again. Where are you lacking faith? Not only in the process of life, but in yourself. Do you trust yourself? And if not, why not? In what ways have you hurt yourself in the past? Okay. I want to thank you for your time, for your energy, for everything that you have done for me to help fuel the conversation that we're having here with you. I'm honored by you. And I'm privileged to have your attention. Until next week. Thank you for listening to the weekly transit. If you're curious to learn how these transits or any other transits may be affecting you, or if you're interested in learning more about your astrological code, contact me for a reading at theweeklytransit.com. If you're interested in delving into the world of psychotherapy with Gabriella, you can schedule a consultation with her at GabriellaDurso.com. That's GabriellaDurso.com. Support for the podcast can be done through a monthly contribution on Spotify, rating us 5 stars, subscribing to our channel on YouTube, or writing a favorable review on Apple Podcasts. We are grateful for your support. This episode was produced by me, Scott Tajarian. Music written by Ben Leinbach from Listen Deep by Amber Herzog-Lyman. Wishing you all the best as you ride the planetary waves.